Good evening, everybody. Just give us a like, a share, make sure you can see and hear us okay. Welcome to the one-off new time of 7 o'clock on Wednesday. I'm hoping people are going to join us, and it is a good time. How are you, Johnny?
Yeah, not too bad. Not much change since our 3-minute conversation yesterday.
9 seconds on Facebook. Yeah, we've got comments on Facebook. That's good. Right, we've got people on Facebook. Is anyone on the YouTube? Let us know. Hopefully, this is going to work for us.
Yeah. So yesterday we had a bit of a nightmare where Natalie's Facebook account got suspended because she posted about her daughter going to Laser Quest. So apparently Laser Quest is inciting violence. So she's in the groups of Kanye West and Andrew Tate now, right? She's
yeah, I think so. I think she is.
Laser Quest. It's
yeah,
bad time.
Absolutely mental, isn't it? Absolutely mental.
Yeah, I could see some comments coming on Facebook. YouTube wasn't a problem yesterday, I don't think, but it's good at least we're on Facebook. I think we're live on YouTube as well. So if you are on YouTube, if you could just write a comment and just say hi. Yeah.
So I think tonight's going to be a bit of a different one, isn't it? We'll talk about Amazon, of course, but I think we're going to talk a lot more about Shopify tonight because I know you have a Shopify store, I have a Shopify store. I think it's a thing that a lot of people are interested in as well, hearing about.
Yeah, so I think tonight we'll just chat about Shopify, starting our own store, a bit about our experiences. I think I want to talk about Amazon and what they're doing with the sort of transport world, with both their sort of new not new, they've been around for a bit, but they're sort of releasing new services and expanding their reach with their new transport, Amazon Shipping and Amazon Freight, which are very new. And after the Shopify, we'll definitely talk about that. And I just want to share, I had a meeting today with Amazon Freight. And it just seems kind of crazy how good it is. So we can talk about that later. Yeah,
that's interesting.
Yeah, I think so. I think everyone really they're taking over the world. Really, my warehouse manager was like, they're gonna have an airport in a few years. They're gonna have their own airports and stuff, and just take over every industry they can that's sort of semi-related to what they're doing, right, with logistics or transport or anything like that. So we'll see what the future is. So yeah, we just look at the comments on Facebook.
Yeah.
So Cindy's tuned in. Cindy says hi. Hi, Cindy. I hope you're doing all right with the wholesale course that was on a few weeks ago. Hope you're taking action with that. And Dan says good evening. Yeah, it was extreme. So Dan says good evening, sirs. Hello, Dan. Cindy says, yep, can hear you both on Facebook and YouTube. Facebook user says bad time and the footy is coming on soon. I don't know who's playing. Is it the Europe Champions League, maybe?
I have no idea. I have no interest in football whatsoever.
I think it's the Champions League. It must be. It's Wednesday. I'm more interested this year. I'm an Arsenal fan, so we're first in the league, which is hasn't been the case since the Invincibles, which was I think 2003. So even though at heart I'm a combat sports fan, I still like football, still like my childhood love. So I still support Arsenal, and it's good to see them first. But yeah, 30's on tonight. Yeah, fair enough. It's always on Wednesdays, Tuesday nights. It's on every night, isn't it? It's on every day at all times. So yeah, but yeah, fair.
Yeah, pretty much.
So I can't see. Can you see who's commenting on Facebook?
No, unfortunately not. I can get on Facebook actually and have a look at the comments. Might be easier.
That would be easier.
Can see. Yeah, unfortunately, if you don't sign up to StreamYard, your names don't appear on our feed, so we can't see who you are. There we go.
Oh. So that's
the football starting soon. John's joined us. So a few people on tonight. Hopefully, we get some value out of tonight's session as well, because it will be, I say, a little bit different, I think. And me and Jonny love talking about ecom, don't we? We're a bit sad like that.
Yeah, so I think just more sort of getting into nitty gritty of a few things and just chatting. Sometimes we'll just sort of chat for 20 minutes and then go on little tangents. So we thought we used tonight to talk about two things, isn't it? So Shopify and what Amazon are doing in the space. Obviously Natalie's the natural host, so we're usually we're taking over on role, but we'll try, and hopefully we'll give some our content will replace the delivery, if that makes sense. We'll win on content, but on delivery might be a bit different. But,
she does have she has a very good skill at doing that. Chris is joining us as well, so welcome, Chris. So we'll get into it. I think a few more people have joined us online. So tell me about Shopify. Tell me about your website. How's it going? Because I know I've had mine for 2 years now, but I know yours was a lot more recent, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's absolutely more recent. We started the website about a year ago, but we never really took it seriously till this year. So we're quite big in one category in Amazon. So for us, it made sense to sort of focus on that category and build our brand around that category.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's good because again, you're building your brand, which I think is important. You want to build that brand, and that's what's going to carry over in the future, right? And you can also relationally, it's also good on Amazon and eBay to sort of build that brand, as we will do, and Natalie likes to talk about with her unique bundles and all that sort of jazz. So for Shopify, for me, it was like, how do I get into, how do I sell off stuff in bulk? How do I get those nice sort of 200, 300 pound orders where I'm making, 25% gross margin, 30% gross margin, and you're sort of taking 60, 70 quid profit per order. So it increases your average order value. So I decided to create this Shopify store and really take it seriously. Before, it was really more of a front for wholesalers, but now it's like legitimately starting to catch up with everything else. Right. So I know if your Shopify store, it's almost the same level, am I right? Probably not as Amazon, or because that's
it's nowhere near Amazon, but it's similar size to eBay. And it's really surprising the different types of customers you attract. I'm not sure if you found this. So I didn't really appreciate that Amazon kind of has its own set of customers. eBay has a set of customers, but then there's like another set of customers that come to our website, and a lot of them say, oh, I don't like Amazon. I don't shop on Amazon. I've had a bad experience with eBay because unfortunately eBay's got a bit of a bad rep and there are bad actors on eBay. So a lot of them kind of want to shop online, and that's where the Shopify comes in, I think. It was really surprising to me that what products were selling, and we were having completely new customers come through the door that had kind of never used either eBay or Amazon before.
Yeah, I think I've noticed that, like, new customers. I've also noticed a lot of competitors purchasing. I'm not going to say any names, but for some friendly names that we all know. I sometimes see them pop up in an order. I think Shopify is the only orders I still check now, actually. Because I want to I'm building that brand. So yeah, you definitely get those sort of people who are like looking for those bulk orders. I buy wholesale, so sometimes I might buy cheaper than the supermarkets. Then someone might see my store and be like, oh, I can get this the same price as supermarket. We can order X amount. No, it's like unlimited from my store, so people can do that as well. But yeah, really, it's just getting what I really like, and maybe people will actually know what my store is if I say this, because I really like, I have like a special offers page and I have a clearance page. So what this is really good for is, so me and Matt both fulfill from our own warehouses, as well as doing FBA. Mm-hmm. And occasionally you will have that stock which just sits around and just for some reason doesn't get traction on Amazon and doesn't get traction on eBay. I'm sure everyone has those listings that just, whether the buy box gets suppressed or the listing's not very good, or it's just a very weird brand and a weird flavor. it's hard to get that traction. So what I like to do on Shopify is you can create these sort of sections, right? You can create like a special offers and the clearance, and it really boosts up your sales. And other tactics like you can put the products that don't sell on your front page, and it's a nice way of getting sales where you won't get it on other platforms because you can control how the customers, the targets that the customers are going for, right? You can control the targeting and where they go. I don't know if you've had that experience, Matt.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, one of the main traffic drivers for us, obviously, when you set up a website, you have to do your own promotion, and that is one of the hardest things to do. But when you do it right, it's one of the most rewarding things, the most profitable things you can do. But what we do with a lot of our kind of sticky stock is very similar to you, run special offers on it. So we use it to drive traffic to our website. If we're going to make a loss on the stock anyway, we could put it into an auction, we could sell it off super cheap on Amazon. But at the end of the day, if I'm losing money on it on Amazon, Amazon's gaining a customer, Amazon's gaining sales, Amazon's still getting their cut, and I'm losing money. Well, I would far rather discount that product even further and sell it as a loss leader on my own website to gain customers, gain traction. Really interestingly, before we came on this call, I was looking at our email list. We've actually got 23,000 customers on our email list.
Wow.
And a lot of that's through just, discount purchases. Now, okay, I've lost money on that stock. I'm not going to make money on that stock. But what I have done is gained a contact. And I mean, we have obviously GDPR. We have so many that don't subscribe. But of the 23,000, 9,000 are subscribed to our email list. So I have now a database of 9,000 customers that I can then remarket my product to, and hopefully they'll buy something at a profit.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm still new to the game, and I do have my audience or email list is getting bigger by bigger. But even though we have like the software like Klaviyo, or however you pronounce it and stuff, I don't think we've actually set up too many email campaigns. We've set up the sort of like the annoying ones where it's like after 7 days, like, hey there, you didn't place an order, what's going on, sort of thing. They're sort of like everyone places, but we haven't actually done like a proper like email campaign. And it's for me, I was always like testing it. I was like, is this going to work? And then I posted in the group a few days ago that I reached like £1,000 a day. So it's like, oh, okay, like that's £200 extra a day, and it's pretty nice. Like you run your own warehouse, everyone's doing fulfillment, it's all the same to them, apart from using some different tape. But it's really, really, really good. So have you set up all the email marketing campaigns, and there's a lot of your sort of traffic now like organic then?
So our biggest traffic driver is Google. I think depending on, because I think you're like me, we're very product driven, and I sell brands that people are looking for. Google's the best place for that. If you're very much a new brand, you're trying to gain traction, you've got a new product that no one's ever seen before, then social media is kind of going to be your main thing. We do advertise on social media, but it's more of an awareness thing. So it's like we will spend, say, 20 or 30 pounds a week on awareness ads, and it's like they're just literally to create social proof and create trust. So when a customer kind of comes onto the website, they look on our socials, they see that we're posting, we've got adverts running. We do gain some sales from them, but a lot of our products are intended purchases, and it's another thing to consider in your marketing if you've got an intended purchase or an impulsive purchase. And when someone has an intended purchase, they don't tend to come from social media. They come through because they're actively looking for that product to buy for themselves or for as a gift of someone else.
Yeah. So Google's been a big one for us. And just to go back to sort of the loss makers, it's an interesting one. I think I was saying to you yesterday that with the FBA sellers, what I do notice, and why I guess like people ban resellers, is they just buy up all the loss makers.
Yeah.
So it's just like, okay, cool, I've had an order for £500, but my margin's like 2%, because it's like it's supposed to drive that person in, right? And then they're supposed to buy a bunch of mixed stuff. But you get the FBA people buying like a stock of loss makers. Okay, well, a lot of that loss maker, to be honest, is stock that hasn't sold very well. So I'm sometimes happy just to break even on it. But it's always interesting because I kind of see now the perspective from boots and stuff
The
like
other
that.
side. The other side, the
The
dark
other
side.
side,
Yeah.
get the dark side. I get the perspective there because it is like, it's nice to get that order, we build that traction, but I know they're only going to buy stuff that's going to be like really good pricing. Like I'm not going to get that sort of 30% margin from them. I'm probably going to get loss makers and stuff like that. Yeah. We had a few questions.
Yeah.
Just quickly go back to that. Chris is tuned in. Hi, Chris. How you doing? Cindy says, yeah, if you log into, give StreamYard permission, and then StreamYard you'll be able to see your name pop up.
Yeah.
And then we can put your name across the screen. Chris says the biggest problem I had on Shopify was fraudulent buyers, mainly in Mexico, ended up stopping overseas sales. Chris, Matt, do you sell overseas on Shopify?
Yes, we'd sell only to Europe.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. So one of the good things about Shopify, obviously on the platforms, i.e. eBay, Amazon, their rules are that you have to sell your price inclusive of taxes and fees, which is where the challenge is trying to ship from the UK with Brexit and all the other things, because you have to basically clear the goods for the customer so that the price they pay is all the fees. You've imported something from America, you get a little card through from Raw Mail and it says you need to go and collect this because you've got to pay 20 quid in VAT, X amount in duty, and 250 processing fee or whatever it is. So you have to basically do all that for the customer. Now with Shopify, we have a disclaimer that says, look, if you're buying from us, we're from the UK, you're responsible for the taxes and fees, and people assume that themselves. So we don't get that many orders, I'll be honest. It's very few and far between, but it's not something we've actively pushed. I don't know if maybe in the future, because we are in Germany on Amazon, we might then sort of look at website translations and trying to sell our products from within fulfillment in Amazon, and use Amazon in Europe to fulfill our products to European customers. So there's lots of potential there. And like I say, we could use, there's lots of different apps where you can kind of like spoof your website into different languages. So when the customer,
he does that with YouTube, doesn't he?
Yeah. So if you come from a German IP address, the website will automatically display in German. A French IP, it will automatically display in French. So there's lots of ways that you can kind of gauge and build that customer base. I mean, Google will translate it for you, but it's not quite the same experience as having a website naturally translated. As it is.
Yeah, so a lot of our orders are sort of similar to, like, say you do like an online shop at Ocado, and there's like 40 different items, and it's usually quite heavy. So for us, because the international max of raw mail is usually about 2 kilograms, right?
Yeah.
There's a couple of countries, maybe like 7 or 8 countries, where their max is 5 kg. So what that means is you're gonna have to send multiple boxes, multiple postage and stuff like that. It always, for some reason, raw mail always seems to get things missing internationally. It's still hit and miss for me. Like, it's always like,
we only ever send them tracked. We only ever sell international tracked, and we charge that.
So what I had on that with Amazon would be that you're set like your 7 to 21 days delivery. We do still sell on Amazon to Europe. We just send it to say it's the max, but you'd always get stuck in customs for some reason. And if it gets delayed in customs and it's delayed a few days late to the customer, then you have to reimburse that customer. And then it's hard to get that money back, because raw mail will be like, well, it's delivered. Like, what? Yeah. It's not our fault it got stuck in customs. So I guess you got to have enough margin and enough profit and to make that worthwhile. And in Amazon, we can set that. We can set a pretty high delivery cost, so like everything works out and like the margin's bigger. But we understand that we can get those orders that will just go, a wasteful order where just like you got to refund the customer and you just lose out completely. But for Shopify, it's just a wait for us. It's just commodity codes for like 40 different items, and it's just like a bit of a nightmare. We try and add everything like the weights and the commodity codes and all that. But the team's not perfect, and they won't always add that stuff until at some point. And for us, it was just made more sense to concentrate on UK, right? Get that right.
Yeah, and this is I mean, you think about it with the new website. If your website's not doing like millions of pounds a year in the UK, then there's still plenty of growth in the UK. So why are you wasting your time trying to do Europe when you can,
So one thing that Mark Penn
Can
actually said when he came on Nevermind the Buy Box a couple of years ago or a year and a half ago, I can't remember. Was it 2 years ago?
I think it
Not
was
too
about
sure.
2 years ago, yeah.
Yeah, one thing that resonated with me was just like, why is everyone like so focused on Europe? Like, people who are doing like 5 figures. Oh, that sounds mean, but like, people who aren't doing like massive numbers, and they're like, oh, how do I enter Europe? How do I enter America? And he was just like, just get UK first. It's a massive market. Just get that right first.
Yeah.
And then once that's conquered, and then okay, cool, let's move to Germany. Let's move to USA, right? Not just sort of like get going and let's go really wide. So it's the same thing for us in Shopify. We're trying to still get we're still beginners actually with like advertising and marketing for us. Like Google just moved to sort of a different from Google shopping ads. They've stopped doing that, and it's a new thing called Performance Max now. I don't know if you've seen. Yeah, so you can't do Google shopping anymore. They're basically ending that, and it's going to be Performance Max, and that's where you add like a bunch of images and videos and headlines, and it's a new way of doing it. So it's not as I'm still trying to get that right and trying to figure all that and return on advertising spend, and that world is like a new world. Not a new world because of it's kind of related, but that's something I'm not an expert, quote unquote expert at yet. So I'm still learning that, and but happy with how it is. It's just nice. It's a nice little extra, isn't it? That sort of extra short.
This is the thing, and when you get to a certain size, you can kind of implement when you've got the core system and everything kind of revolves around that. You can implement platforms quite easily, which makes these platforms are never going to be Amazon. They're just not. Well, maybe the website could be, but certainly eBay is never going to be Amazon. I know Chris has mentioned, do we sell on OnBuy? I do. I'll talk about it in a minute. But OnBuy is never going to be an Amazon. But what you do get is because it's not much extra work, like particularly through Shopify, you can push listings directly to eBay. That means that there's no extra work required. Literally, you just click send to eBay, and then you've got it on 2 platforms. Okay, you need some kind of system to manage the stock levels, but there's no extra work. And then if you can do OnBuy, you can push to OnBuy. So integrating these platforms becomes not too much work, which means, like you say, you're just getting these extra little bits of sales. And if you're getting, we get about 30 grand a month off the website. That's an extra 30 grand a month we weren't going to get. And if we get 10 grand from OnBuy, that's an extra 10 grand. That's now 40 grand a month. That's like nearly half £500,000 a year. Yeah. So you can see how these little bits actually add up to be quite a lot of money.
Absolutely. And for me, being very deep in groceries, again, it's that 30 grand is something I might not get actually, because like half of that might be stuff that's expiring, right? So it could be stuff that is like zero or having that extra money, right? Because that stock would have gone to waste otherwise. We would have chucked it. We don't chuck stock anymore. It just goes into our clearance section and always sells out. So we're always getting something. So yeah, speaking of Chris, let's go back to the questions. I'm just going to skip Rosie's and just with Chris, do you sell on OnBuy? Because I have something as well. I actually cancelled OnBuy. The subscription wasn't worth it. I didn't like the listing, the way you could list on OnBuy as well. I hate it. It was very clunky listing. I don't think there was a bulk uploader. It's just really hard to get your listings on OnBuy, I found. And maybe there's a better way, but I struggled with that. I think there's maybe some integrations with Shopify and OnBuy, but I didn't like it. Wasn't getting sales for it. And it just wasn't worth my time. It's just sometimes, even though we're saying about Shopify and Amazon and eBay, me and Matt are obviously years into this. But if you're just starting, then you should really focus on the breadwinner, which is usually Amazon, right? And just Shopify comes after and eBay comes after, really, once you've really nailed down where the bread of your business is. But OnBuy was just like, it's not worth it. It's just like, I'm not going to put effort into something where it might give me a few extra £100 a month, but we just weren't seeing traction with it. So we stopped that. What was your experience? You had probably different experience.
We do, yeah. I think OnBuy is a very specific market. I think it works for your consumer goods. I don't think it works for groceries at all, which is obviously your key market. So we have had some good success, but we haven't put the proper investment into the platform. That is a objective for 2023. to put some proper investment into it. I'm looking to actually get a VA to manage that, because what even though, like I said, you can have a centralized system, there's still like tweaks that you need to make to optimize the platform. So I'm looking to get a VA that's going to basically take the listings off Shopify and eBay and streamline them, optimize them for on buyers as their sole job. So hopefully that will be fruitful, and but we have had some good traffic from on buy, and we've had some good sales from on buy.
Yeah,
so,
that's actually an interesting thing, by the way, that on that topic of like listings. And you did mention that you can do Shopify to eBay and like with a click, basically, and that's fine. But actually, the real value from like eBay and stuff like that for us is like those variation listings, those multi-buy listings, and really optimizing that listing. And then you can get loads of traction. So sometimes having that VA who will just do those listings and do it really well. And sometimes just that 1 or 2 listings that will sell a lot. So that is also important to have that person on on buy. And I talk about on buy and didn't have the best of luck, but you're having good success with it. I know, again, Mark Penn, again, just got twice mentioned him. He said he was killing it on buy. And he's in like like a Durex and stuff like that, or random stuff like that, isn't he? Like household stuff.
Yeah, household was the thing you could describe it as.
Yeah. So apparently it was catching up with his eBay. I'm not sure about if I'm misquoting him, but I believe he was killing on buy. So maybe it's just getting this listing set up. So their Google search
as well, because we're another one we're looking at to work with is Voucher in the new year, which is a completely different concept in terms of how you sell. You kind of agree a price with Voucher, and then they take a commission off the sale. But the real value, I think, with things like on buy, you get it with eBay when your account's big enough. You don't get this with Amazon. But particularly on buy Voucher, is you actually get account managers you can speak to. And you ring them. I ring them up and I say, look, we've got this stock. We can do this price. Do you want to promote it? And then they'll say yes or no. And we've had front page adverts on buy and on eBay, because we've been able to speak to people and make a deal that works for both of us. Now, you can never do that with Amazon. It's never going to happen.
No.
But it's that potential there with these different platforms that just doesn't exist.
Amazon's just too big, right? I think
they don't care about my 100 pieces of Apple AirPods that I've got refurbished, and I can.
They're a machine, right? They're just a machine.
They're not interested.
Yeah. So I think Rosie's asked a question, which I think you might be better at answering. It's do you have a guide of how to set up a system and what software to use to collect email customer list? So I don't want to answer this because it might be wrong, but I know some of my software does it, but does Shopify collect it? Is it inbuilt?
Yeah, so there's an inbuilt customer section in Shopify, and it will collect their email, and you can email market them. We use a piece of software called ActiveCampaign. It's been more advanced. Also, MailChimp's another very common one, but MailChimp used to be cheap in the business, but actually it's naturally one of the more expensive ones now. So but Shopify has its own customer management system, and people have to subscribe, and it won't let you send them emails if they're not subscribed and stuff like that.
Yeah. So hope that answers it. Shopify keeps a customer list. So if you don't want to go down and pay for extras, then I think Shopify do have some good marketing tools. It's probably it's not going to be as advanced as third parties, but I think Shopify will do that job. So Chris says about on
the thing about Shopify is it will only it does the basics, so it will store customer contacts and it will send emails. But the more active ones, ActiveCampaign, the more advanced ones, they have features where you can see bounce rates, you can see click-through rates, how many people have clicked on your links. You don't quite get that through Shopify. That's really powerful, because if you send an email and no one clicks on it, then you obviously need to know why they're not clicking on it and things like that. But it's quite advanced marketing. You could do like a whole course on how to
clever. You can say like A/B testing. You can check what gets the best results. You can do all that sort of flow chart, systemized, and really systemize it. And if they don't respond, then after 7 days, then send another email, and you have that whole step process. Right? That's pretty good. But again, I think the first thing if you do launch a Shopify store, I'm sure you agree, it's just Google, isn't it? Getting on Google Ads and
Google Ads, yeah.
getting a good, nice campaign. For us, our sort of return, I think it's about 10%. I think of our sale. It's like what it takes off our margin. Like we're about 10% of our final cost is about what we pay, like the cost of advertising spend. Would you say about that for you as well?
We are really lean at the moment. We're
Yeah.
at 3%.
Okay.
But I suppose if you factor in, I pay a person to do social media, so it comes more to like 8% with their wages in it. But the actual ad spend is about 3% of sales.
Yeah. So we're against the same thing as well, where it's like, okay, we're spending $2,000 on Google Ads now a month, I think, around 2K. So it's like, okay, cool. Well, it probably makes sense now to get a VA or an extra staff member just to optimize that, because they're now a small percentage of that spend. So it now makes sense for me to hire someone else who will just focus on Shopify. So that's the stage I'm at now. It's like, okay, approach to hire someone just so they can really optimize it, someone really understands social media and marketing and running a store. So that's probably my next move, because it, get that spend up and you're like, okay, how do I optimize this? Well, and grow. We just hire someone, right? Who's an expert, right? So Facebook user, sorry, I can't see it. I've had a couple of Shopify stores in the past. I haven't taken a Shopify course and tried both a niche site and a general store, which reflect my Amazon tree, investing a lot of time and money, but without great success. Eventually abandoned Shopify. Be interesting to know like how are you fulfilling those products, because there's different models, right? I think like Amazon MCF does work on sort of high value goods, right? If your store's set up where you just want that one sale, maybe it's like selling some Yeezys, saying that because it's topical, Kanye West controversy. If you just sound like something that's high value, like Yeezys, and you're doing like an MCF from Amazon, right? That works really well. So the niche stuff like that could work well. I haven't built one myself, but it's kind of like drop shipping. Yeah, I've seen people have success with that before. Similar to sort of that software, Sales Freak, whoever Matt invested in. Is it Sales Freak? So it's like he does like the Amazon to eBay with the naughty word that we can't say here because we don't advocate the D word, but it's a similar thing, right? So you can sort of from the Amazon fulfillment centers to Shopify as a niche store, and then the general store for us, it just again works really well for us because it gets rid of stock that we wouldn't sell in other ways. I guess we can sell on eBay, but because it's already within our system, it's much easier, like actually for the warehouse staff just to create a new SKU, like an expired SKU, and it just lists pretty much automatically, right? Yeah. With eBay, you've got to set up the listing. That can take a bit of time. With Shopify, it's very easy just to put that product in the clearance section, right? It's just a tag versus listing, doing a whole new listing for it. So it's a very quick and easy way. And again, with special offers as well. I just sort of look at, okay, what's been in my warehouse for more than 2 months and what's not been selling very well. Let's go put a special offer it, and then boom, it just goes, right? And it's just a lot quicker, a lot more automated. So for us, because we have that fulfillment distribution warehouse, it makes sense. But I guess with a third party prep, maybe it'd be a bit more difficult. I don't know.
Well, we're actually looking to outsource the majority of our distribution now. And
Amazon?
Yeah, use our warehouse more as an internal processing center now. So we are looking to move to Orange Connect for eBay and also just Amazon MCF. So Amazon MCF has been working really well for us, but we're also looking to use the Orange Connects to fulfill the other half of it. So I think it's totally viable to use those two. You have to have the margin, of course. One of the big issues is business customers. Like our website gets a lot of business customers. We have regular customers who buy 10, 20 units generally for their business, not to resell, but for their business. And you don't get any discount for Amazon MCF for multiple orders. There is something coming. Is
there? Okay.
Yeah, but it's only 25% off.
That sucks. So
because like literally,
that's why it doesn't work for me, because it's
because you could probably literally spend the same sending one as you could send in 5 or 6. It's just still the same parcel.
Exact same.
Particularly for us, if we sell like phone cases, we could get 10 in one parcel for the same cost as one, but Amazon charges you 33 quid for that parcel, £3.30 each. So they are doing something, but it's still a massive issue.
Yeah, I mean, minimum order quantity. And obviously competitors maybe watching, but your margins for like Amazon and eBay, and not eBay as much, but like the sort of multi-line orders, I'm getting 20+% margins on those, and they bring up the business and they top it up. So it's actually probably half the reason, not half, but a big reason I got the warehouse and one of my own distribution was, Amazon MCF. If it's a multi-line order, you're going to pay 6x delivery cost. If you get an order for 6 units, with 6 different units, you're going to pay
6 times fulfillment cost. Yeah,
you're going to pay 20 quid, and to do that from my warehouse, it's going to be 2-3 quid. So it's just it doesn't make sense for Amazon MCF for that model. So, but it does make sense for your sort of thing where sometimes you'll sell stuff, around the £100 mark, I imagine. All right.
Yeah, regularly. I mean, our average order volume is about £50 now.
Yeah, so it makes complete sense.
It makes sense. The distribution costs in our business are like 5% of the item cost, so it's very small percentage. But as for some people, it can be 25-30% of their item cost. If they're selling something for £10 and it's costing £3 to ship, that's a lot of your margin that's on shipping.
Yeah, no, you're right. So Chris just confirms automatically set up.
Just go back to this one here. So this had, the one we said that you hadn't had much success with Shopify. I think it's really important when you run a Shopify store you've got to with Amazon and eBay, you put stuff on the website and it sells, and that's the whole process, right? With your site, you've got to go a lot more in depth, and you've got to do a lot more research, and you've got to kind of put yourself in the mindset of the customer. And you've got to ask yourself, why is the customer going to buy from me? What can I offer that other people can't? And you've also got to think of all the reasons that the customer isn't going to buy from you and try and cover them objections. So the biggest number one reason customers don't buy from websites is trust. It looks like a scam or they're unsure about it. Well, think of how can I build that trust? Have a phone number so they can call you up, make it a landline so it looks like a real UK business. Have your address plastered all over your website so that people know where you are and they know you're a UK business and not like a Chinese dropshipper. Little things like that. Have a familiar cart system. Have a familiar website layout. This is one of the key things we did when we set our website up, was to make it seem like a style. We actually copied. We didn't copy the design, but we copied the layout of a major brand retailer because it felt familiar. And you don't think about these things, but these little things can be really, really important. If someone hits your website and it looks like it's a genuine site just because it feels like Amazon and looks like Amazon, then that's half the battle. So there can be lots of reasons little reasons like that, why you weren't having success. Even if your products are right, even if your prices were right, people might not have gelled with your website design. So a lot of thought really does need to go into it to have success. And again, you've got to consider why they're going to buy from you. Realistically, it's going to be 3 reasons. They're going to buy from you because they believe in your brand. They're going to buy from you because you've got supply of something that other people don't have, or you can get to them more quickly, or your price. The price is cheaper. Really are the only 3 reasons people buy off somebody. And that's the same for all e-commerce or all business, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. It's tough though, Shopify. Actually, it's customer service is another thing. Actually, that's the other problematic thing for us. It's pretty difficult, right? Because for us, we have sometimes orders with about 50 different items in it, and if you ever order something from Sainsbury's and Ocado, like what is their sort of hit rate, right? What's their like success rate on delivering every single one? It's probably not that good. There'd be like substitutes, or there'd be they just won't turn up, right?
Yeah,
it's the same with ours. Like we sometimes our hit rate's not 100%, but people always have that expectation. They'll always be a bit mean and say like, where is it and stuff like that. And I guess it is the onus is on us as a business to do it, but it's a challenge to have all the stock, right? And the other thing is, well, we prioritize Amazon deliveries, so we're always going to take stock from Amazon first before Shopify, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's tough. The customer service is constant sort of messages, and yeah, I mean, like we have a lot of, yeah, it's more than Amazon, yeah, for sure. Cool. So yeah, Chris cleared that up. Yeah, there's an app on Shopify that will redirect to the customer location. Nice. So a comment says Ocado are blocking more sellers at their fastest rate now, and you'll notice I got banned in May. Well, I don't think it's actually to do with resellers. Actually, I think it's more to do that there's a national shortage or supply shortage, right? I don't think it's anything to do with resale. They pretty actually like resellers because I don't think they have many promotions. They kind of hold the same price. Maybe I'm wrong with this, but I've always thought that Ocado, they have the sort of 3 for 2s and stuff like that. But, you know, a lot of the stuff I used to buy from Ocado was always just the flat rate that I used to always buy from. But I don't think like they have too much of a problem from resellers. But I think more the morality of it is that there's a national supply shortage where people can't get stuff because, you know, some dude's ordering 1,000, you know, fondue kits or whatever from Ocado. So I think it's more that than actual anything else. And hopefully when supply goes up, they'll be more lenient, right? Because at the moment, it's just everyone's trying to grab what they can get. It's the same with supermarkets, right? You go to Aldi on the wrong day, or, you know, Waitrose if you're Matt. You know, if you go on like in the middle of the week, the stocks can be bare, right? And it's just unfortunately, they're also probably keeping it lean as well because of just the way the markets are. Yeah, it's a supply issue. So I think that's more down to that. Do you agree? Do you think it's more supply, or do you think it's more I hate resellers?
I don't think it's they hate resellers. That's a complete, you know, fallacy. Businesses want to sell product to make money. It could be most likely you're losing them a lot of money. Like we said, you know, they do loss leaders to get customers in, not to sell to resellers. You know, unless they're trying to clear product to make space. There's probably getting pressure from the brands because as margins get tighter, which they are doing, people look at ways to increase prices, and they'll be getting feedback from their customers. So if you're a distributor, for example, of a product, and your customers are saying, well, I am trying to sell this product on my store, on my website, on Amazon, whatever they're selling it, and this guy keeps coming in undercutting me, I can't buy from you anymore. So that's why the distributors and the brands are coming down heavy on the retailers and saying, look, if you're discounting this, it can't go to resellers because resellers are coming in and undercutting our own supply chain. That's the big problem. That's the real reason they don't like it. It's nothing to do with brand control and brand protection is a reason they don't want bad customer service and issues because they don't know who you are. But the real reason, it comes down to money. And you yourself might not undercut prices, but lots of people do. They will buy something from Ocado, they'll make 20p on it, and they'll bomb the price because they want to clear it quickly. But then that affects the whole distribution chain. And that is the reason that these brands are coming down on these retailers and saying, look, if you're clearing it, you can't go to resellers.
Yeah. No, yeah, I agree with that as well. Yeah. So do you only fulfill Shopify orders if you have your own warehouse or self-fulfill? Can you fulfill them through Amazon? Yes, to all of them. Matt does both MCF and from his warehouse. I just do from my warehouse. I would have to have a different business model for it to do MCF. If you're in if you're in beauty or something like that, or you know, toys or something, I don't know, that's high value goods, maybe you could MCF could work pretty nicely actually. I don't know if is MCF
OA works really well for MCF and retail arbitrage because you probably have a limited quantity. You probably have 5, maybe 10 of a unit you bought cheap. You've got good margins. You can put it in Amazon where it's most likely going to sell, and then you can have it on your website. Because the problem as well, when you're starting your website, you want to keep product for your website because obviously you want your best sellers on your website to drive traffic. But then you don't want that product sat in your warehouse waiting for someone to come and buy it, which could take 6 months to get your first customer to your website. So it's a 22 situation. That's what we found at first. We held product back. And that meant that we then weren't selling on Amazon affected the cash flow because stuff wasn't selling because it was sat on the website. And then you kind of think, well, just send it to Amazon to sell it, and you end up in this sort of circle of failure, I guess. So MCF
that's
is
where
really,
seller fulfill prime comes into play.
yeah. So MCF is a really good way to get around that. Send it to Amazon and have it on the website that way. And there's lots of softwares you can use as well that will. You can a lot of what people do is you can pull the information from Amazon and push it to Shopify. Now Shopify don't like these apps and they keep taking them down, but they do still work. So you can use you can import the information from a listing as well to create a Shopify listing, and then have a piece of software that will automatically create an MCF order. So actually, once you've got your website up and running and you've built the trust, then the maintenance of it can be very minimal.
Yeah. I actually was over the weekend built something where my own little Amazon to eBay listing sort of thing. It's pretty cool. So the thing with off topic here, but the problem with annoying thing of Amazon and eBay is that they're the category mapping. They're not the same categories, so mapping those categories. So that was always a tricky part. But what eBay has is if you input the title into the API, they will give you a suggested category back based on that title, and it will give you like 94% of people who has this title or keywords use this category. So it's a really good way of actually, if you can programmatically get your titles from Amazon and the ASIN and the SKU, and then put the title into the eBay API, and then get back the suggested categories and all that. And then that's a really good way to actually get your listings on. And then what you can do from there, I'm just going to tell you what I did with my app, actually. I enjoy talking about this. And then put the ASINs into Keeper, and I can pull the images from Amazon and the brand and descriptions and stuff like that from Keeper. And then you can sort of, I listed 2,000 listings on eBay over the weekend just because I thought, I want to improve eBay. So not the most top quality listings, but again, that's one way of doing it, actually. I was going to ask back to it, like, I believe Amazon MCF is a flat rate, right? Is it not dependent on weight? So that's really good.
There is weight banding, but it's
not
very
weight banded.
Let me check the feeds.
If you know in the comments, then let us know. Because if it's not weight banded, then stuff like toys, where the fulfillment cost in Amazon is actually quite high sometimes for toys because it's quite big and bulky. But if it's a flat price with an MCF, then Shopify or eBay could work really well for it because it could actually work out cheaper fulfillment costs. But if it's weight banded, that theory is all wrong. Yeah.
There we go. I have the fee chart.
Yeah.
Where are we? I've got the full thing there.
Yeah, guys, if you use Amazon MCF, then just let me know your thoughts and your experiences. Have you experienced it before? Have you had any luck with it? I know Amazon to eBay is always a nice winner. I used to do that for my warehouse. I'd always have an eBay and just have that automatic feed because it's just like leaving money on the table if you're not doing that, right? Because there's software you can get for like 20 quid and it'll automate all that. So it's just, again, leaving money on the table if you don't have an eBay account, doing that automatically. Yeah. Have you got the fees, not weight, just size?
Yeah, it's not weight banded, it's size banded. So you've got, it's very similar to like your Royal Mail. So you've got standard parcel, which is the same fee, and then you've got small oversized, standard oversized, large oversized. And you've also got small envelope and large envelope as well.
Okay, fair enough. So it's banded in some way. For some reason in my head I had it as it was.
It's not like $3.30 because most of my goods I pay £3.30 on.
Yeah, that's really good. Is that 2 day or standard, right?
That's 3 day.
Okay.
So the big problem with MCF is there's very little price difference between the standard and the next day. The standard is 5 day service. It's like a Hermes. I don't think it's Hermes. I think it's Amazon, but it takes 5 days. The next day is next day guaranteed. So the standard is $3.30 and the next day is like $3.90.
That's good though. If you include packaging and labor.
This is what I mean. And of course, for people who don't have these setups, then it's the capability to act on a big scale, and you can completely automate the fulfillment side. I mean, I know Chris said he'd had issues with fraud, so you'd have to kind of put some checks on that. I was going to say actually to Chris, what fraud filter software are you using? Because you do get what's called like a standard fraud filter in Shopify.
Built in, right? Yeah.
There's also a lot of apps you can get that add on and that will reject a lot of these fraudulent orders. So you're never going to be able to completely eliminate them, but you shouldn't have very many on your own website. You probably need to look at your fraud filter. It's probably being too generous.
Yep. There's another comment as well saying, I've been selling on eBay full time for 19 years. It's a long, long time.
Yeah.
I'm sure when the customer service rep calls you, they'll be like, you've been selling for 19 years. Thank you for our service. I always get the same. Yeah, that's actually long for me. So I think I'm at 15, so fair play. I'm finding items I've sold for many years are restricted for me on Amazon. I'm guessing as I build up trust over time with Amazon doing FBM, there may be less restrictions. I was wondering if you have any resources on moving onto Amazon who already has products listed and sell on eBay. Which app would you recommend? Keeper, FBA Multi-Tool, Bible Pro, Jungle Scout. Keeper. Yeah, just Keeper. Maybe if you can you download your product list? Can you do you have barcodes or EANs attached to your can you somehow download your eBay listings and get the barcode and then put that into Amazon and just see what's ranking well with the ungating and stuff like that? That's usually a time thing, or buying from a wholesaler.
And you can do that. The only thing is not everybody puts their EANs into eBay because obviously there's no requirement to no EAN. But yeah, you can download all your listings and your EANs if you've already done that.
Yeah. And what are you? I'd be interested to know if you're sort of strictly FBA or FBM, because sometimes moving on to Amazon, the biggest advantage, of course, is FBA, right? That's the best thing about Amazon, really, is FBA. So I would say look at your sort of top selling products and just, what's the ranking on Amazon? So our Amazon, there's two things actually I suggest. Go on, just look at your top listings on eBay and think, go on Amazon, download Keeper, and just look, what's the rank and our Amazon on the listing, right? And if the price sort of looks right, put it in the calculator, the free calculator, and then just buy more and then send it to FBA. Just send it in a box to FBA and just see how it goes. After Keeper, then you can get sort of Buybot Pro or Seller Amp or whatever, and then do the calculations. But there's free versions of those. Yeah, I guess Bible Pro might actually be a good shout for a beginner because it shows the sort of restrictions. It's like a beginner guide. It's like, you're gated here. This is hazmat. You're not making money on this. So it's like a newbie sort of, what's the word? It sort of helps you not make mistakes. So yeah, Bible Pro and Keeper, get the trial for those. Keep 100% you need. And yeah, go from there. Get your top listings. Send it into Amazon. Just FBM's good, but if you want to scale to Amazon and FBA, try and use the FBA service for sure.
It's not just the scale from the fulfillment point; it's a time perspective. You're not spending time packing parcels; that's being done for you, which means you can spend times on profit producing activities.
Yeah. So let's answer this is the last question or comment, and then let's talk a bit about Amazon and taking over the world, because we're on 53 minutes. It's time
flies, isn't it?
It flies. We just talk. This is so Amazon doesn't work so much based on reputation. If you can't sell something, you either need to get ungated or you can't sell it. As your account grows, you do find that some items can be auto ungated. But yeah. Cool. This is answering the previous question. eBay is great because obviously you can list everything and anything, and it's never going to get taken off, really. Well, it might do sometimes, but very rarely. Yeah, so that's the thing with Amazon. You need to get ungated and make sure you can sell it. That's where like Buybot Pro comes into. Yeah, pretty good for that. Cool. So let's go, because we're just answering questions and talking all day. So. One thing I wanted to talk about, because I've had the meeting today with Amazon Freight, and everyone saw on the news sort of yesterday, if you read the news on the 24th, that Amazon Freight has now been released and becoming more available, I guess. They're building their service more, and they're expanding their reach and expanding their services. For me, I think it's a complete game changer, and I'll go into that. But firstly, Matt, have you seen the email? Have you had a chat? Have you looked at the
I have
pricing?
not. Is it come through today? I'll not have a quick look now. No, I haven't. I haven't heard anything about this. So it's just news to me.
Right. So, some people know I've moved to sort of Amazon shipping recently, and from Royal Mail. So, Royal Mail, I've lost my business. I still do Shopify and was it international with Royal Mail, but my bulk of my business is Amazon. So I've moved to Amazon shipping, but today I got verified on Amazon Freight. So today we sent our first, scheduled our first Amazon Freight shipment to the Amazon fulfillment centers. And there's two massive advantages of this. One is if you send more than say 4 pallets or 5 pallets, the full truckload is a flat price up to 26 pallets, and the cost for this full truckload is 200 quid. All right. So if you can send 26 pallets to the Amazon fulfillment centers, each pallet is going to cost you 8 quid to send to Amazon. It's ridiculous. And the other absolute incredibly good thing about this, because it's an Amazon Freight, Amazon service, the transit time for fulfillment for full truckloads is 0.5 days. So it's going to be into Amazon in less than half a day.
Wow.
Right. So we're going to try and aim do 7 to 8 pallets a week and do full truckload. And we're going to try and build up to like 8 to 10, 9, 10. But, say we send 10 a week, which is probably what I expect from our team. At the moment, with our current transport service, we're paying about 50 quid per pallet. If we start sending 10 in using Amazon Freight, we're now paying 20 quid per pallet. Wow. That's a ridiculous saving. And the transit time, of course, is going to go down because it's Amazon. It's just absolutely unbelievable. And even if you just send in individual pallets, the quote you get for less than a truckload is still about 40 quid, 42 quid. So even if you're just sending 1 pallet in, which they do as well, it's also cheaper than most competition. And I think the transit time for less than a truckload is 2 days, which is still it's pretty standard, but pretty incredible still. So this is the thing, like with Amazon, Amazon shipping, for people who don't know, Amazon shipping this year released a 2-day and 3-day service. And what this is a track service, and it's there to basically, hi Royal Mail, we're coming in and we're taking your business. Because
they're about to lose. We could talk about this, but they're about to lose my business as well if they don't sort these strikes out. We're making a decision on Monday whether we're going to continue, which is part of the reason we're pushing towards the Orange Connects thing. I know Chris asked, is it more expensive? I don't know what it was before, but it's competitive at the moment, so it's about on par with Raw Mail. What we're paying for Raw Mail.
Yeah. So good thing about Amazon shipping, like for us, is you don't have to separate your different tracking services. So 2-day, 3-day, 1-day, all go in the same pallet. The other good thing as well, we don't pay any surcharge on our deliveries. So like Royal Mail, they charge I can't remember what it is, like 4 or 5% fuel surcharge.
Every courier I've used has charged that. So that's really
Amazon don't charge that. And the other one that's the best thing is, I've mentioned this before, is that you can pay by credit card. But you pay by credit card after 30 days, 16 days after. So say I start my October invoice, I'll have to pay the middle of November, right? So the shipments I've done the 1st of October, I won't have to pay until the middle of November, right?
And then I get a credit card,
and I can pay that
interest free.
Then I can pay that with my American Express. So that's 6 weeks, and then American Express, which is 2 months or something, that's 3.5 months of credit, right? So Royal Mail for us was 14 days. It wasn't good. We had to pay VAT on that. Other thing with Amazon shipping, there's no VAT as well, so you don't have to pay VAT. And there's no VAT on it, so your cash flow is just ridiculous. And Yeah, and the problem before with Amazon shipping is they only had the next day service, but now they're having this 2-day, 3-day, which is very competitive if you're doing X amount. It's completely changed the game for us, and our margin just kind of shot up. And one of my competitors actually said to me, and I'm not going to mention his name, but I'm sure you know who he is. He mentioned to me like a year ago, like, oh, why do you stop doing this? Like, why do you stop selling Prime? Full Prime? Do you hate money? And I was like, well, I don't get it, because Royal Mail seller for full Prime was absolutely garbage because it would always show 2-3 day shipping. And now I've realized the beauty of just keeping your services with Amazon, because they seem to just be the absolute kings of just everything. And it kind of sucks in a way, because I feel like they're just going to take over all these businesses, and just I don't know how Royal Mail will compete. Which brings me back to Amazon Freight. And one thing they're doing at the moment, you can only do full truckloads to customers and different warehouses. So it's not just Amazon fulfillment centers. You can also send to anywhere in the country, right? So, at the moment, you can do that with full truckloads. So if you're a wholesaler and you're selling a whole full truckload somewhere, then Amazon Freight would give a really competitive price. But in 2023, they're going to do less than truckload to customers. So if you're a wholesaler, everyone's going to start using Amazon Freight because the prices are cheaper. And the other cool thing as well, which would be good for you, that I found out this morning, is that in 2023, they're going to be shipping UK to Europe as well. So they're going to be opening up international as well.
Ooh, that is interesting.
Yeah. And again, the other benefit is the credit system as well, where, you can pay via credit card. So again, you get these terms and the cash bound points, and you don't actually have to pay actual cash for a long time. So your yeah, so like Amazon Freight, Amazon Shipping, your cash flow just goes it goes way up, because everything's just can be paid by credit. And we're not.
Do you know what the funny
not
thing is?
advocating credit cards.
When you get bigger, that is for me the hardest thing in my business. Selling stuff's easy, managing people's easy, putting processes in place is easy.
Well,
cash flow management,
managing people is not
hard. So hard to do, to keep it, keep cash in the business all the time.
Yeah. So, there's a caveat, all these sort of things like Amazon shipping, their insurance isn't the best. So if you have a non-Amazon order, they won't refund orders more than 25 quid. Even if it got lost or damaged by them, they're only going to refund up to 25 quid. So if I sent like a 200 quid Shopify order with Amazon shipping and they said it's lost or damaged, I can only claim 25 quid of that. So that's where okay.
But this is again another thing that comes with size and scale, is that you've built that into your margin. So we have an acceptable loss rate because our Raw Mail is not insured at all. The 48 has got no insurance at all, no claim at all. The Tract has up to 150, but the standard has no insurance at all. And we kind of work out, we keep an eye on the loss rate and go, right, well, we have a 4% loss rate. So as long as our parcels are less than 4% of the shipping value, then we are basically making more money by having a cheaper shipping service. If that loss rate goes over 5%, then it's the other way around. We're losing more money on lost parcels than we're saving. So, little things like that.
Yeah. But it's interesting, right? Our current haulage, sort of Amazon FBA, pallet transport company, whatever you call them, one of the pallet line companies, they've been very good. They arrive in the same day, sometimes within like 10-15 minutes. They just be there. Amazing service. But unfortunately, like, price always comes down to it, and Amazon always know that, because if I can save a few grand each month on shipping and get it to Amazon in half a day, they just can't compete with that. Like, there's no way. And I imagine for some of these like pallet line, like Amazon partner companies, and I'm sure a lot of their revenue comes from Amazon, right? To Amazon, I imagine, right?
Pallet line, pallets online. Sorry, not pallet line. Pallets online is pretty much an exclusive. Their business is pretty much geared to doing pallets to Amazon.
Yeah, so I don't know how, when people actually start catching on, and whether Amazon Freight will just increase their prices at some point, Amazon Shipping start increasing their prices. I don't know. Maybe they just want all the business themselves. I don't know. But it's going to start putting lots of people out of business. And I think, like, again, Royal Mail, like, how's that? I just wouldn't have stocks in Royal Mail right now. Just I know it's a massive business, and I'm sure there's more to it, and but they're going to lose a lot of business this year, and they're going to, not being able to pay their staff. It's tough for everyone. It's very hard to pay your staff more money actually in this climate, to be honest. But
Yeah.
it's a very tricky position to be when staff are rebelling, saying we want pay rises when you're in a terrible economic time. But it's very interesting. Like Amazon keep releasing these new things, and like from reading other people who've joined up to Amazon Freight, it's been a game changer for a lot of people. So Amazon are definitely making it easier for us as sellers to get cheaper pricing, increase our margins, and the other thing with them is just their website and UI and user interface is just a lot cleaner as well. It's just nice. And the credit card thing is just insane. I guess they're just sitting on so much cash, aren't they? There's like, fuck it, we'll do credit terms. The credit
That's
card.
the thing, isn't it? They've got so much cash that they can easily just do a massive game-changing kind of thing for small businesses. It doesn't cost them anything. I'm not sure about Raw Mail. Raw Mail's probably well capitalized, but a smaller pallet company is never going to be able to offer credit terms like that because they don't have the facility to do that. Raw Mail maybe because they're a public company, but Amazon's got so much cash, like you say, they can potentially offer 120-day terms.
Yeah, well, they got I don't know how long their loan was or how much they leveraged up, but pretty sure they got a massive business loan a few years ago when in the heyday, and it's what everyone's going to call it, the last sort of 20 years, the good times. They got a massive loan of I don't know what it is, but billions at 0.3% interest rate. So they got a massive loan of 0.3% or less than 1%, billions of pounds that they can now just hand out on Amazon lending at 12%, 14%, 10%, right? And they're sort of, it doesn't matter too much to them if one person goes out because the numbers are so good on that. So they've got so much cash sitting about, I imagine, through these loans. And again, I haven't looked at their balance sheet and stuff like that recently. And things might have changed since this happened.
Because the Amazon loans are, for most sellers, astronomical amounts of money. I would never dream of going to any normal loan company and asking for the amount of money that I've been offered from Amazon. They just go, here's an absolutely huge loan. And at 9% interest. Okay, 9%'s not maybe the cheapest, but it's the cheapest, actually, the cheapest loan I've got. But unless you're getting something that's with security, no bank is ever going to offer you that amount of money pretty much unsecured.
Yeah, I think unless you go private lending, peer lending's which again, I'd much rather get lending from Amazon than a mate or a family member, private. In property, it's big to do peer-to-peer private lending, right?
But then getting property is pretty secure because you've got bricks and mortar that you can go, here's your money. Whereas Amazon, it's a bit more, I say, moving parts, a bit more liquid. It's a bit harder to see where the money is.
Still super mega risky, by the way. That peer-to-peer lending people 1% a month in the property world is mega risky. But people haven't seen that, right? Because property just keeps going up. But when it gets flat and building prices go up and stuff like that, then it's gonna be a bit more risky. But we're not going to talk about credit and risk. It's not really the expertise. So yeah, but I mean, any more further thoughts on Amazon? Do you think an airport's going to come into play? Do you think they're going to? What other sort of industries can you sort of see them sort of going into and just sort of taking over? I think airports is one. Yeah. So obviously there's logistics and transport and all that sort of thing, but definitely see them sort of taking over. Yeah. But yeah, got out to an hour now. Let's finish off and get these questions back to the questions. Yeah, I hope that's been sort of useful. I've left the nuggets of Amazon Freight and Amazon shipping to the end because that's usually the most valuable bit of this, is because it really is a game changer. It really is. Cool. So we got to Chris saying you're lucky. Call centers, never mind. An account manager has Orange Connect. That's a question for you, Matt. So eBay's fulfillment service, which is Orange Connect, I can't pronounce that, come down in price.
I don't know what it was before. So I can't say if it's come down in price, but we were looking at about 280 for a small parcel, which includes the pick and pack. So it was about comparable to what we're paying doing it ourselves. We're paying less if we're paying like 230 through Raw Mail, but of course we've got to pick and pack the parcel ourselves, which we don't have to do.
Does Limworks have an integration with that to
Yeah,
mail?
direct integration, yeah.
With eBay or Orange Connect?
Orange Connect, yeah.
That's interesting. Okay, so they're already geared up to have those sort of integrations. Because for me, I'd be like, oh, that's going to be hard, but
yeah, because it's already geared up, so it's good to go basically.
Mintsoft doesn't have that, so yeah, it's interesting. So Cindy's talking about the banded weight, so we're a bit far behind now. MCF has a dashboard that I have recently found, shows that I have 100% unbranded packaging recently, which is good for my Etsy sales. So Cindy's done the Etsy. I wonder how that's going for you. Is that sort of bundles and stuff like that? That's cool. I've never done Etsy, but yeah, it's not really my. I don't think grocery stuff sells on Etsy. Maybe it does. I don't know. Cool. So a bit more chat. Let's see what other questions is. I'm trying to see what sells before I go to FBA. Okay. So the previous question was saying about I'm going to do FBM first and then see what sells and then go to FBA. The good thing about Amazon, right, is that if you just go on YouTube and maybe go potentially we'll release something soon, but some good videos on Keeper and looking at price history and rank history. Maybe go on Tom Parkinson's Fast Track FBA and just put like Keeper guide or something like that. And it will sort of give you sort of how to read these charts. Because actually with Amazon, it's mostly objective, right? It's not subjective with Amazon. It's all objective data and reading charts saying, okay, cool, this has been ranked at X, which is 10,000 for the last 4 years. I can see people are selling out. So you can see if people sell out and you can see the rank going up and down. So you can sort of gauge that there's been sales, right? And then all you have to do from there is like, okay, let's look at the price history. This price history is 10 quid for the last 2 years and I can get it for 2 quid. Okay, cool. It's going to sell and I'm going to make a profit. So your probability increases, right? So I would say just learn how to read historic price information and rank information and base it off that. FBM is cool, but you won't win the buy boxes and it'd be a sort of deflated sense of sales with FBM, I would say. Because FBN standard, if it's going to be, unless you're doing self-fulfill prime, even if you're doing self-fulfill prime, FBA is going to always win the buy box over the standard FBM. So you're it'd be a deflated sort of, if that makes sense. The expectations will be deflated when, if you send to FBA, you'll get the real sort of sales data, I'd say, which is more useful. But yeah, that's my recommendations. But yeah, give FBM a try. FBM, you have to worry about the rank. You just list everything as long as you're ungated, and then it's all good to go. You can list on everything on FBM. So yeah, cool. So yeah, Cindy's saying actually I think it's a weight to looking at the rate card. Cool. So it might be weight with the price bands at MCF.
Yeah,
with great tips.
I think the thing is, it's all changing on the 25th of November.
Yeah.
So there's a massive change coming in for MCF on the 25th of November. So
interesting.
You need to just check the prices then, because that's when the discount comes in. I think they are changing the prices as well.
Yeah. So I should really look at the Facebook use. Someone says, thank you for the great tips. You're welcome. Velcro is a big no-go on eBay. Velcro, do you know anything about this?
Yeah, so there's a few words. So basically eBay have their own kind of like IP copyright system called Vero.
Okay.
And certain words aren't allowed. So for example, because Velcro is interchangeable with the product, but it's actually a brand name. So you can only sell Velcro if you're selling Velcro branded Velcro. Hoover is another one. So you couldn't call your Dyson a Hoover on eBay because it's a Dyson, not a Hoover, and a Hoover is a brand name. So unless it's a Hoover, you couldn't sell a Hoover on eBay. A Dyson as a Hoover on eBay. So yeah, you can get pretty hot, these brands, on that kind of thing.
Yeah, it's always an interesting topic, and just quickly, so we don't talk like, do you know Logan Paul and KSI's new drink? called Prime.
Yes, I've seen this. Yeah.
I've always thought, like, can Amazon go after them because they've used Prime? I don't know, because I used to have I thought it was one of their sort of copyrighted words. I don't know. Do you think Amazon would ever go after and be like, look, you're selling like Prime drinks? People think it's associated with Amazon. I don't know. They probably read into it, I guess, but it's that was one of my thoughts. Is like anyone who uses like Prime Goods or Prime drinks or stuff like that. I actually have a domain called Prime Goods, interestingly enough. But I didn't actually. I was going to launch a store called Prime Goods on Shopify. That was my original first name, but I didn't go for it because the copyright and Amazon going after you if you go big. So I'm actually interested in Prime Drinks, if there's anything wrong legally. But again, I don't know. That's a thought for me as an Amazon person. Cool. So raw mail strikes are annoying. Yeah, it's insane.
Nightmare, disaster.
Yeah, it's absolute nightmare. And the problem as well, it actually reflects on badly on other couriers as well. And Amazon have put up the delivery times on a lot of stuff because they know that a lot of stuff goes through raw mail, right? So for instance, if you use like Amazon shipping or maybe DPD, you can't sell to like BT postcodes and stuff like Isle of Man and Isle of Wight. You have to usually go through raw mail for that. So what they're going to do is, okay, cool, like Amazon raw mail's pretty not reliable, so we're just going to increase everything and put our vital emphasis on FBA and change our algorithm. So a lot of my sort of next day delivery stuff on Amazon is showing as longer days, and I think it's down to Royal Mail striking and that reliability of that. So it's annoying in all ways, and again, it's a tricky situation because being in recession, and then you have all the staff members demanding a price raise when, Jesus, like, what do you do there? Like, it's hard because you want to pay your staff more money, of course, but you got to run a business at the end of the day, and obviously you want to lean up right now and not take risks, and increasing your staff role is just not good timing, and it's something they probably should have done 2 years ago when things were good. Maybe they did do it 2 years ago, but yeah, I guess why don't they just go work for Amazon shipping or something? I don't know. That's probably a better move, but I'm not going to talk about strikes and anything controversial. Yeah, thing with the air miles, yeah, it's amazing. It's really, really good. So that's again the best thing about being an Amazon like in a reseller business is there's nothing to spend money on anymore, really, if you're not a person, because like your luxury holidays and your luxury flights are now taken care of by having a reseller business. And it's a egotistical thing to say, but we're probably in a position now where, like, unless you're buying fancy clothes, which I have literally no interest in whatsoever, what do you spend your money on? Like, points can just take care of all the good stuff now, I think. Like holidays that you're going to New York, being paid by points. I'm going to South Africa. I've actually said this but I'm planning to go to South Africa in the end of January, all paid by points, even for my missus, paying for points for her as well. If I want to go to a luxury hotel, like I went to the Maldives, I've mentioned this before, all paid by points. So it gets to a point where, like, it's yeah. So yeah, it's just it's amazing, right? It's just that resale business is so good for your lifestyle because you can just leverage points and all that sort of thing. Cash back as well. So it's the arrogant, it's like an egotistical thing, but not harmless. It's like a harmless egotistical thing where it's like, oh, what do I spend money on now? Like, everything's taken care of that I want, that is with cash back. But yeah, that's another thing as well. Cool. So thank you for the good tips. You're welcome. I think I've already, there's two posts on that. Cindy put in the affiliate link. Cool. Yeah. So yeah, Bible Pro sort of Natalie sort of thing. She's obviously very connected with that crew. So yeah, there's a referral link, not referral fee. And Chris says they've trademarked it, I think. Also, there was a corner shop selling it at 15 quid a bottle. Fair play.
Wow.
I mean, supply and demand, right? Like I said, I had the opportunity to buy quite a lot of it actually a few months ago, and the wholesale price was like 150. So yeah, maybe if like you're looking to import,
but there's loads of things like I was discussing today. If I'd bought loads of air fryers,
Yeah,
But I'd have made a killing on them because
good
they're
with
like
each other.
one
Yeah,
price. Torches. If anyone's in the torch business, they're apparently the price of torches is going through the roof
yeah,
because people think there's going to be power cuts over the winter. So
yeah.
let's
If you're
got torches in the warehouse. You might want to get them listed.
Yeah. If you're sitting on a pile of cash, go speak to some wholesalers in America and then get a container of Prime over and then give me a shout and I'll buy a lot of that from you. But that's a good business move right now. Just go. I'm pretty sure they're selling at wholesale in America. I think they are. I saw it at like Sam's Clubs and stuff like that. But if they're selling at wholesale in America, that means you can probably get it imported to the UK. If you're sitting on a lot of cash, go do it. That's a good business move if you can get Prime in because it just doesn't. It's crazy. Cool. I tend to avoid that fads. Is that air fryer or is that Prime drinks?
Both fads, aren't they? I mean, I
Air
suppose
fryer is an oven, isn't it?
yeah. I suppose an air fryer is kind of capitalizing on supply and demand, whereas obviously the prime drink is more of a fad.
Well, they're both social media driven by
Yeah.
it's not like KSI and Logan Paul. It's not their company. I doubt they did anything with it apart from being the face. I'm sure they like read up on it and were interested and stuff like that, and a few meetings and stuff. But there's no way that these guys doing boxing fights and stuff like that actually have put time and sweat into that business. They haven't. Like Logan Paul's doing WWE and boxing and podcasts. There's no way he's actually. I wouldn't say it's their business. They're just like the marketing front for it. And same with like Mr. Beast chocolates and stuff like that. Like he hires CEOs for that. That's Mr. Beast chocolate bars and stuff. They sell really well. It's just again, there's another conversation here. It's that influencer brands that are sort of taking over, aren't they? Mr. Beast, Logan Paul, and those dudes sort of release something, and it's always going to be a hit. Doesn't matter what it is, but the kids will go mad over it and buy it. So yeah. So yeah, I think that's it with the questions. We kind of I think we intended to sort of talk a bit more about Amazon shipping and freight, but again, you know how we are. We like to we find something and we just go. But yeah, different time. So maybe a different audience who don't tune into our lunch ones. We're all usually on at like Tuesdays at 1 p.m. And our usual host of Natalie is usually here to, more smoothly transact through the through the conversation. But hopefully, a bit more of a different approach today, a bit more raw, talking a bit more about what's going on with the businesses and stuff like that, and more of me and Matt's approach. So I hope you all enjoyed it, a different approach. And yeah, is there anything further from you, Matt, to say?
No, it's been actually really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed tonight. Really good chat. Like I say, we tend to talk quite in depth, don't we, about more kind of the practical of logistics and running the business.
Yeah, absolutely. It's again for us, these sort of little things to chat about. Just even having that knowledge of using Amazon Freight, you can save hundreds of quid a month just by making that email and signing up. So it's always nice for these sort of conversations with me and you, just to sort of chat away, see what's going on, what's new. Because I think good news is always nice in this day right now in the new dark ages. So when Amazon are releasing these new stuff that's cheap and increases our margins when things are getting tight, it's a really nice thing. So again, I hope everyone enjoyed it. And next Tuesday, I believe Natalie has a guest on. Is it?
I think so. Yeah.
Is it the start of a seven-figure podcast marathon of like news, and it's all kind of like news guests as well, like all people with different perspectives, different interests. So it's not 7 figures, and it's just going to be me and Matt on 3 times. So it's going to be new people with fresh faces that will hopefully inspire and give a different perspective.
There's a few surprising people who you may have seen in the group and then just never realised that there's a few quiet people, isn't there, coming on? People you've probably never seen about before. So
really, on the group. There's a few people coming not on the groups as well. People that you don't hear or see about. People that just some people just like to keep behind closed doors. They don't want to get doxxed. They don't want to advertise too much, but we've got a few guys coming on, which will be super helpful. Raw stuff with Natalie hosting, which will in these sort of times like this where I think all the knowledge you can get, right, it's going to help you sort of get over these I'd say difficult times, right? But yeah, cool. Glad to see people still listening and enjoyed it, and we'll be back on. When will we be back on?
I don't know. We're back, honestly.
Dude, I think Natalie's taking the slots. Maybe we have to be as the third host and ask them more questions. But yeah, if you guys don't see us, we post in the group. Make sure you've all liked, subscribed, and joined the group on Ecom Inner Circle. We do sort of daily posts there, and we sort of keep more up to date on Amazon Freight and everything we sort of talked about. Make sure if you've got any questions about what we've said today or tonight, and then just ask them in the group, and we'll both all be happy to answer. But yeah, cool,
great. See you all soon.
See you all soon. Cheers, guys. Bye bye.